Hey guys, Dylan here, and today we are doing a quickie discussion. But before we begin today's discussion, I thought I would talk about something. For those of you guys who are new to this, you may not know that this is not a reading of the article. I don't just narrate the article and then that's it. I like to add my own word to it, and yes, I do like to critique the article when it needs it. This is supposed to be a wiki. Wiki articles are supposed to have true facts about the thing that it's covering. So if I see an inconsistency, or if I see that an article is lacking stuff, I will point that out and I will tell people to correct it. I should not have to go and make my own account on this site and then correct it myself. I'm not joining their secret little Discord server. I'm not becoming part of the mod staff because I feel like I shouldn't have to. The mistakes that I point out, most of the time they are very aware of and should be aware of. This article in particular has a little stamp on it saying that it is a pair of dirty crap briefs, which means it needs to be improved. So, for those of you guys who are saying, why don't I just fix it? I shouldn't have to, and I'm not going to. I'll continue to point out the flaws when I see them, and this article is really flawed. So I'll tell you some ways that we can fix it later. But for right now, let's read the article. We start with a quote from the person who was Sarah Jackson, quote unquote, saying, "I'm single right now. I wish I had a good man to love me and take care of me, and maybe someday I could have a beautiful little girl of my very own to love and take care of." Obviously baiting Chris because Chris also wanted to have a girl. So yeah. And the person writing this said, no, Sarah definitely wasn't a troll, ... Sarah Jackson, born on the 21st of March 1981 and died October 13, 2008, was a troll and one of Chris's former sweethearts. Sarah lived in Alabama and found out about Chris through her autistic sister Rose, a Sonic fan. Of course, all Sonic fans are autistic. She made contact with Chris through the official Sonichu and Rosachu blog, which is one of Chris's old websites. The two quickly developed a good trust. Then, however, Chris told her that he had feelings for Blanca at the same time. After an exchange of emails among the three, Chris chose Blanca. Her plans to troll Chris never came to fruition after Chris rejected her. And in the emails between those two where they both were trying to win Chris over, they both called each other out for being trolls. So they both were very aware of who they were and what they were trying to accomplish. But unfortunately, Blanca won. Maybe in an alternate dimension, Chris Chan fell for Sarah and some different events happened. Who knows? That's just for you to ponder. And we end this part with one more quote from Sarah. "I'm not going to let my heart be broken anymore. Chris cheated on me, even though they weren't officially together, and doesn't even have the balls to write me back after I read his little blog entry." So Chris ghosted this girl. Chris flirted with her, and then when he found himself a sweetheart, he ghosted her. And if we look at his drawing here, he completely fucked up the feet. I had to look at that. Like, her right foot is just completely fucked. I don't know what's going on there. It's a terrible, terrible drawing. Her hand is also really fucked. It looks like she came for quick hand. Just thought I'd give a little input on that. And her hairlines extend to her hat. So that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But then they go straight to death, which I wouldn't have done that, but whatever. Sarah was tragically killed by Optimus Prime disguised as a truck. Chris mourned her loss in Sonichu 9, drawing her like a 40-year-old, which, to be fair, the image they gave, she looks pretty old. She looks pretty old. Let me open this image. She doesn't look that young. So Chris drawing her that old is the pick you gave him. And I wouldn't have went straight to the death. What I would have done is have a little section saying in the comics, and then talk about her comic book appearances. Her first appearance was in Sonichu 8, and we can see her here at the bottom of the page, right next to Panda Halo. He doesn't really call her Sarah Jackson, but we can assume that's her, seeing that she's drawn the same way that he drew her before. Same cowboy hat, even though they're on the beach, and that's kind of ridiculous to be wearing a cowboy hat on the beach. And then we go to this page where he talks about her dying, and that's where he draws the truck, which is obviously Optimus Prime. It has the fucking Autobot logo on it. But yeah, that's where he kills her off. But the funny thing is, even though he says in memory of Sarah Jackson and shows her getting into a vehicular accident, which is how he thinks that she died, she wouldn't actually be killed in the comic books till a little bit later. In Sonic 9, she appears as Miss Jackrass, which is what Chris does. He swaps the names about to try to avoid like getting in legal troubles thanks to his imaginary lawyer who was also a troll. But yeah, there she is. She was the teacher in Date Ed, and then her sister had to announce her death. And the reason why this is important is because Sarah Jackson, the only reason why Chris found out that she died is her sister told him. So this is obviously Sarah Jackson. That's why her sister randomly appears, even though she's called Rita. Just roll with it. It's obviously paralleling what happened with Sarah Jackson. And the fact that they didn't even acknowledge that her sister told Chris that she died, I don't know. It seems like this could be easily fixed. Just add a little part where it talks about her appearances in the comic, the fact that Chris foreshadowed the character's death before even really introducing her, and then finally when you go to her death, talk about that her sister is the one that told Chris that she died, and that's why Chris wrote her death into the comic book. And presumably he just did it at the last minute. That's why her death just comes out of nowhere, like in the comic before she's even like properly introduced. That's what I would do anyway. Those are some ways you could improve the overall flow of this. And I wanna read a little bit from the Optimus Prime article because I don't feel like I would any other way. And apparently, even though that Chris drew Optimus Prime running into Sarah and killing her, he didn't see him as a bad guy. He didn't see like Optimus Prime as responsible. Apparently Chris just needed a truck, and that was the only thing he could think of drawing. So it's very weird. And people have theorized that Optimus Prime killed her because he knew she was a troll and a secret agent against Chris. And I like that theory, and I like that they captioned the photo, "You got the touch, you got the power," which is the song that Chris Chan sung from the Transformers movie. Just thought I'd talk about that because it's funny. And that was everything involving Sarah Jackson. I know it was a short article. I know that I was nitpicky. I know that I told them to improve it. That gets some people angry. Can't help it. The article is called Dirty Crap Briefs for a reason. I gave you some ways you could fix it. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video though. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you really like it, share it. And if you want to see more, then subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and bye. Before the credits roll, I thought I'd give a shout out to my multiple ways of making money. YouTube is slowly starting to sanitize the platform, making it harder for people to make money on edgier content like I do. So I'm reminding you guys that I have a Patreon. The Patreon has plenty of reward tiers, including seeing my podcast early, being able to join my fan Discord, and possibly even getting on the show if I can fit that into the schedule. I have video recommendation tiers that you can try to get into, and if all else fails and my YouTube falls apart, I always have a BitChute account. So remember to check out all these different things in the description below.